Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. We're gonna do August TBR, and because I am going to start doing seasonal TBRs, or I did starting in the summer, I'm going to go over the prompts and the books that I had for those prompts, and I'm going to tell you if I read the book yet or not, and if I didn't, do I want to lock in a different book that'll still fit that prompt, or are we feeling like we're actually going to read that book? It'll make sense once we get into it, but let's spin my wheel of doom. It's not the wheel of doom. If you saw my video a few weeks ago where I did Alita's lifetime reading challenges, these are goals of mine that I'm gonna be doing for my entire life, or until I accomplish them. So I picked random number generator and picked a bunch, put them all over the board. So let's see what our hard focus is gonna be for August. Are you ready? What is it? 13. Booked on the case. Okay, so that actually works out perfectly. I've been addicted to thrillers. So 13 is Booked on the Case, which is the yearly reading challenge that Alexis from Alexis Fully Booked does. It's a thriller reading challenge. It's kind of like Sarah's horror bingo, but it's thrillers and mysteries. I've been loving my thrillers lately, which is such a odd taste for me because I used to love thrillers. I used to read predominantly thrillers, but it's been a while since I've read a good thriller until recent. Oh, okay, I'm excited. So let's see how my summer TBR is going and how we can lock it into being booked on a case. So the first prompt is the sun on the cover. For that, I picked Rock Bottom Girl by Lucy Score. I read 62 pages of this, and then I soft DNF'd it. So at some point, I do want to come back and read this, but I'm not loving it right now, so I kind of put it down. But I did finish Love on a Landslide, whatever this Kindle book is. I read a Kindle book, and it was an indie published book. It was fine. It was like this woman goes on this trip, like this hiking type of trip, to find herself after a breakup, and instead she finds love. It was fine. I gave it 3 stars. We have flowers on the cover, and I finished Other Tears, an inclusive anthology. The median, so the score that I gave the majority of these stories was 2 stars. However, because there was a 5-star poem at the very beginning, because there's a 4-star slasher in here, because you follow a serial killer in 2 of the stories, those are my jam. It was ultimately a 3-star book because I added up all the scores and divided it by 23 stories. I got 3.0466666666, and I just went with 3 stars. This one's not gonna make sense, but for home, I had The Suicide House on my TBR for this. The Suicide House by Charlie Donnelly is actually the second in a duology series. I didn't know that. I don't have the first book. So, I read Hex by Thomas Oldhelvet. There are houses right there, but more than that, if you listened to my review of this book, I said it's a cursed horror novel that felt like it was giving me a hug with evil people. But I felt like the ghost cared about me. I felt like it felt like Stars Hollow. And it was like homey and cozy, and I'm gonna count that for home. Because it was just like such a weird way to describe a horror novel. There's Wildlife Pearl by Josh Malerman. I've loved one thing by Josh Malerman, but everything else I've not liked. So I think I'm gonna try and find a thriller that has a wildlife animal, that has some kind of wild. Okay, so for Wildlife, I'm gonna change it to The Stillwater Girls by Minka Kent. This is a thriller, like a survival thriller. These girls have been raised in captivity. They've never left their house. And then one night, the youngest sister gets sick. And so the mom takes the youngest sister to the hospital. And I think that they are stuck in this cabin because they've never left, and they have to venture out into the real world. And I'm pretty sure they were brainwashed in this cabin. They live on this farm that has chickens and goats and pigs, I believe. So I'm gonna Summer. And for Summer, I had Camp Slaughter by Sergio Gomez, but I didn't like it. So I DNF'd it at like 20%. This one's called Summer's Never Over by Darby Bozeman. I guess technically I could just say that I DNF'd the summer book, but I'm trying real hard not to do that for this reading challenge. So, someone knows the truth about that summer. 5 years ago, Greer Olson left her family summer camp in the mountains of Georgia after a season had turned into a nightmare and ended with a friend and fellow counselor dead. Losing vibrant and charismatic Steph shattered everything, and Greer vowed she'd never return. But then her mom dies, and she's back, and she wants to investigate what happened to Steph. 5 thrillers. This one is definitely not a thriller. This is a bookish book, or books on the cover. So there's Phoebe Bourbon's Gonna Lose It by Brooke Alverick. I'm really excited for this one, but it's not a thriller. So, oh, you know what? I do have a thriller about books that this will definitely count. This is The Ghostwriter by Julie Clark. I mean, look at those edges. It'll also count for Buzz cover, where there's fire on the cover. I'm scared to read this because I read something else by Julie Clark and hated it. So I need to go in with an open mind. But oh my god, look at those sprayed edges. Okay, then we have Water on the cover. And I put The Night We Met by Abby Jimenez as my water on the cover because look at the water. I know that our prime goal is to read thrillers, and I technically should pick The Lies We Told because there's a lake right there. But I'm not going to. I'm gonna keep The Night We Met by Abby Jimenez on here. I mean, look, those are fireworks. It's Abby! Come on! I don't care that it's supposed to be I do care. But it's Abby, and Abby wins every time. Okay, then we had the 5 W's, like who, what, where, when, or why. And I had 2 choices. I had I Am Not Who You Think I Am by Eric Rickstand or When You Disappeared by John Mars. I DNF'd both of these 100 pages in. I don't think John Mars is the author for me. I know everyone loves him so much, but everything I've tried to read from this author has not been good for me. And I don't know. I think I bought this because it has Eric's name on it. My son is named Eric. I'm not. For the 5 W's, I am likely going to read When I Was You by Mika Kent. Is that another Mika Kent book? I think so. And for Journey, I had 2 options, and they're both thrillers. So I have The Lost Ones and Dark Roads. I have read 100 pages of Dark Roads by Chevy Stevens. I'm not loving it, but I'm not hating it either. I do really want to read The Lost Ones by Sheena Camille, though. So that one is going to continue to be the book with the journey. So here is my TBR. Yeah, I think we're doing pretty good. And I'm excited to read mostly romance. We're going to ignore the Abby Jimenez book because I'm likely going to read that one next. I don't have a book right now. And, oh wait, I lied. I did just start. Like, when I say I just started, I'm like 20 pages in to Mayfly. But I really, really want to read that Abby book. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to my channel if you're new around here. I'll see you in the next one.